Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode on a mother's journey to holistic health and healing. We are on episode 65. Thank you so much for being here today and being part of the journey. I'm your host, Marissa Prieto. For those of you that are new, welcome to this sacred space of learning, growing, and healing together. And for those of you that are returning, welcome again, my beautiful friends. Welcome, beautiful people out there, to another healing episode. So today's episode, I'm going to be sharing a little bit about my plant path so far. I was reflecting, it's been about a year of starting my plant path journey, and I wanted to share a bit about what I've learned so far, what I've noticed, what's changed in me, what I notice has shifted, because there has been some shifts. Some of them are subtle and some of them are pretty noticeable now. So I want to share what those are with you today. But before we get started, as usual, wherever you're at, I would like you just to take a moment. Let's take a few mindful breaths to just come into this present moment together. Just acknowledging this day, this moment, connecting soul to soul through distance and time today, wherever you're at in the world. Just putting pause on the to-do list, whether you're closing down your eyes or gazing at an object in front of you, just observing the room around you. Just trying to clear our mind for a minute and calm our bodies for a moment in stillness, bringing our awareness to our beating hearts. Maybe putting a hand on your heart if you like. See if you can notice and feel your heartbeat. And just expressing any gratitude that you are feeling in this moment. Now, deepening your breath little by little at a comfortable pace. Inhaling deeply through your nose and exhaling deeply through your mouth. Just beginning to notice how you feel in your body physically. How are you feeling in your body today? You feeling energized? You feeling a bit tired, restless? Do you feel any tension anywhere? And if so, I invite you to bring your hands and give them a little gentle touch. Maybe it's a little massager on your neck, your shoulders, or maybe some gentle head circles, whatever it is that you feel you need in your body today. Just noticing how you feel, maybe any emotions that have been present for you this week. Just not acknowledging them, noticing them. I see you, I hear you, I feel you. Taking another deep cleansing breath. And exhaling it out. And just thanking yourself for this moment that you took to connect with your body, your breath, and how you're feeling today. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. All right. Thank you so much for joining me in that little moment of bringing in some stillness and connection. So let's go ahead and get started. My hopes in sharing this with you today is that it plants a seed for you, and maybe it inspires some curiosity or inspiration or empowerment of some kind to maybe also start your plant path as well. And maybe not necessarily in the sense of how I am pursuing my plant path, because I feel like it's different for everybody, but in a sense of how can I bring in more of the beautiful plants into my life, and maybe in the simplest ways into our everyday life to receive their healing benefits, not just physically, but also emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. So plants are a very holistic, and not just plants, but trees as well, have a very holistic way of bringing us nurturing, healing wisdom on our evolution here on Earth and our growth on Earth to help us raise our consciousness as well. And I feel like to live in relationship, in right relations with the plants, not just the plants around us or the trees, but our earth and our waters and with each other and ourselves. And this was also some messages that I received in a meditation today as I was doing with one of my teas, my herbal teas. And that's just kind of a small example of the wisdom they carry, that they are really open and wanting to share with us. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that as well. But yeah, I really just wanted to share, how it's really impacted me in a whole other level than where I was a year from now. And looking back, I had enrolled in a curanderismo course. It was like an enrichment type of course through UNM, in case you're curious and interested. And it wasn't for college credit or anything like that, just an enrichment course where I feel like it started. My curiosity was a catalyst to leading me now on this path that I am right now. And again, we tie in our intuition to it. And when we can notice a certain emotion or physical sensation, that is the intuition speaking in some form of guiding us towards that direction, right? So for me, it was curiosity. It was also, that feeling of wanting to know more, or I felt like really fascinated as well. And also connection, because I felt like it was a way to also, I could feel connected to my ancestors or my roots and reclaiming maybe certain traditions or certain spiritual practices that maybe my ancestors once did and that I wanted to return to or reconnect with that they did as well. So for me, it's also been healing in a way of returning and connecting with my heritage, my culture, and their ancestral practices that they did as well. And so maybe for you, that could help you in that sense too, as you start to notice you feel like an emptiness in some way. And so that's one of the things that I noticed for me is, I was on top of my nutrition. I was on top of my, had my little exercise regimen down, my meditation practice down, and, my sleep, right? Trying to manage my stress, like all those things that we can try to do in our health and wellness. But something still felt missing. I had my kids. I was very grateful, very thankful. But yet something still felt kind of missing. And so as I started, learning a bit more about my culture and taking those classes and bringing in more of these curanderismo, traditional spiritual practices and healing modalities, I felt like I was being seen or held in some kind of way that felt very healing for me. Almost like a hug from your grandmother, like your abuela, your abuelos, like your older family members. And I guess that's why I felt like a sense of safety and comfort from them, because I had that physical, that emotional and physical feeling, which was also very nourishing for my nervous system. And so let me tell you that today I feel like I can breathe. I'm not gasping for air. I'm not feeling as rushed all the time. And yes, there are those moments, but I feel like I can breathe. I feel calm in my body. I feel grounded, and I'm more connected than I haven't been before. And there are times when I still have a disconnect. Maybe I'm in my head about certain things, imposter syndrome, right? But then I have the plants and I have my spiritual practices to return to remember who I am. And this might be helpful for you on your journey as well. It's like you start working with the plants in this way and they start helping you to remember who you are at the core, the truth of who you are, your essence. It's been enlightening. I can see where there's areas in my life that I need healing and work in. And that's okay because that's part of the journey. I was highly anxious. I could feel it in my body. Survival mode of just doing and doing that. Now I can slow down with more ease and without a battle. I can give myself permission to rest a little bit more and not do things a certain way that I used to do. And I check in with my body more. I have created a stronger connection to my body. I'm not going to say it's perfect or the best because I feel like we can always do better, but it's definitely progress. And that's something that I feel like is also important to acknowledge is the progress that we make in our life when it comes to our health and our healing and our wellness. At that time, I started playing with different kinds of skincare. So I started learning to make my own soaps and oil infusion. So getting some herbs and letting them infuse in oils. But I hadn't quite started meditating with the plants yet. I was just learning how to build the relationship, talking to them a little bit more, sitting with them. I hadn't started my own garden, my own indoor garden like I have this year. And now I am doing more regular meditation with the plants. And so this could be like either visually where I'm holding my herbal tea in my hands and I'm setting an intention, calling on the plant spirit to guide me and to provide the healing I may need in that moment. And this is a practice I try to do at least weekly. And it might be physically when I'm out in the desert, harvesting a desert plant that we have here. Or it might be a few minutes of just feeling the plant's energy as I put my palms above the flower or the leaves, or putting my hands in between the leaves a bit to sense their energy. It can be challenging to get into that space of stillness and quiet moment to clear the thoughts, to be able to connect with the plants in this way. So that has been the challenging part that I'm working on. I'm working on more intentional time to connect with them. And sometimes for me, since I'm just starting, it takes me a bit longer to get that shift in the consciousness. It takes me, at least 15 to 20 minutes until I can get into that space. But before you know it, here come the kids or, whatever they need. They need my attention. So for me, it's been trying to wake up in the mornings a little bit earlier, at least once a week, to be able to have my tea meditation and maybe a little tea leaf reading from that as well. Has been really fun to learn about tea leaf reading, or also known as tesseography. That's been really fun for spiritual guidance as well. And so that's where I'm at with my practice in terms of connecting with the plants in a more spiritual way, is being able to receive the messages that come up. That takes time. Sometimes you might be quiet. You might think, is this my own thoughts, or question the message that's coming through. But if there's some kind of message coming through, be it from the plant spirit or yourself, maybe your intuition, your higher self, that's still a message, right? And sometimes it may not be a message. Sometimes it's just sitting with the plant and creating a moment of stillness. One of the things that I realized that I had to really work on is letting go of expectations. Letting go that I should expect a message from the spirit of the plant. And so that's been something I've been working on, is letting go of any kind of expectations, to just let things arise as they come. What's been really helpful is keeping a journal as well. I'm not always on top of it. I try to keep a journal to write down what I pick up from the meditations, how the plants make me feel as another one, right? If we can just sit with that plant and with that cup of tea for a few minutes, inhaling the aroma, looking at the herbs, the colors, and just letting that sit in our mouth for the taste. What does it taste like? And maybe noticing how it makes you feel emotionally and energetically. that in itself is very powerful information because you get to learn what kinds of plants are having, how they're having an effect on you and an impact on you. And then you get to know like, oh, this plant really helped me with this, or this plant really helped me with that. This one helped me for grief. This one helped me feel grounded. This one helped me like energize. Peppermint, for example, is a really energizing one for me. I've made a spray that I use often when I'm transitioning from out of work to, I don't know, a next task or thing in the home, or just to wake up. And that's been really wonderful. So you get to know what plants have become, healing for you, and what plants have an impact on your mental and emotional and physical well-being. Yeah. So you might just start with even having a fresh plant in your hand. Like, let's say you have some plants growing outside your neighborhood and you can sit with it and maybe have a little piece in between your palms, or maybe you sit beside it and you just close down your eyes and take some deep breaths to calm and ground yourself, and visualizing that plant surrounding you. And even just sitting in that space and just noticing how you feel, if any thoughts come up, is a really great start to building this practice and establishing a relationship with the plant. It could be even, like I mentioned, through the teas. It could be through the shower. One of the things that have been really healing for me is, I'll get a particular herb. For me, it's usually rosemary, or the creosote, which is our desert plant in our home. And I'll use that in the shower to do a cleansing in the shower, like just sweeping my body, my aura. That has been really healing as well. And not just doing it mindlessly, but before setting the intention, holding the plant to my heart while closing down my eyes and just thanking the plant for its medicine, for its healing, and inviting the plant in for its healing, for its medicine. And of course, always just thanking it, for everything that it does. And that I do every once in a while when I feel like I need to do that, when I feel kind of down, like heavy, and just need to refresh. I guess you could think of it as think of it like a physical detox, but it's more of like an energetic one, just really working on your energetic hygiene. That helps me a lot. Or even lemon balm. It's a very uplifting plant that works on your mood, not only your digestive system, but your mood as well, your mental and emotional states. It's a really lovely plant for that. It's got a really nice lemon smell. And even that, just smelling it or holding it or making a tea, or like I said, maybe just brushing your face and just smelling it or holding it and just smelling the aroma of it, like aromatherapy, for example, right? There's so many things we can do working with the plants that can provide that healing for us, depending on what we need. So I've been, experimenting with all different kinds of medicine making, because right now I'm in a different course. It's a 1-year course, a spiritual, mostly for self-healing, and really working together with the plants in a more intimate level through the meditations. So that's kind of been like most of our homework, is to work on connecting with their energies, what's what we notice, how they make us feel, what kind of messages through the meditations, just really gaining a sense of familiarity with the plants and how they affect us in an energetic way. And some of it's also been, of course, on the physical, how was this plant used traditionally? What is this quote unquote good for? Because the plants, I feel like we're only taught to see them in a way of what is it good for, like physically, right? What is the plant good for? But I feel like it's a very fixed way of thinking, that it cuts off the possibilities for us to thinking, how can I work with this plant, right? Not use and abuse it, but how can I work with it in right relations? And so gratitude is always a huge part of my practice when I'm working with them. And, always offering something in return, whether it's my love or my gratitude, or maybe, if I'm harvesting a plant, I'll leave some water, I'll leave some tobacco, I'll leave some other kind of herb, I'll smudge it with some sacred smoke of some kind. So always offering something to the plants before I work with them. And I do this when I'm medicine making as well. So this is something that I'm trying to, work on building that bond with the plants, right? This bond. and it's a work in progress. And so if you tend to be hard on yourself, like myself, right? We're that like high achiever. We know that you might resonate that, we just want to do the best that we can at it, right? So I'm working on being compassionate with myself, being patient with myself, that I'm a mom. I'm a full-time working mom. I have 3 young kids, trying to take care of our home, trying to take care of our indoor garden, trying to come up to the, continuing to focus to come onto the podcast. And it can be a lot, while taking care of ourselves. I've had to put the YouTube channel on hold for a little bit because I've not had the capacity to do it. And that's okay, right? So I think another lesson that I've learned is just really bringing in that self-compassion and patience, that I'm doing the best that I can right now and going at a pace that I need to go at right now, which has really helped me also with my nervous system, because in the past, I might have been like, I'm not doing enough, or I'm not learning as fast, or I need to keep up with this module, or I need to keep up with that module, or things like that, where I'm really just trying to work on the patience. I'll get to it when I get to it, and that's relieving a lot of the pressure, unnecessary pressure that I used to always put on myself. That's really helped to alleviate a lot of anxiety as well. So I feel like a combination of the medicines that I've been making, offering them to my immediate family, to close friends, and just working with them in different ways has all helped me mentally. My mind isn't as busy. Sometimes I wish it was, so I could, plan more, have more creative ideas and things like that. But other times I'm like, okay, that's fine. It's okay to have it a little less busy, and just trying to focus on being in the present moment, and not feel like I have to always have that quote unquote do more, or I should be doing more kind of mentality. And instead being okay with where I'm at right now. And I hope you are too. We can be so hard on ourselves, and that we should be doing more, could be doing better. But I hope that you are looking at what you are doing, and, being proud of that as well, of the work that you're able to do based off of the current circumstances around you and how the world is today. That's another draining thing in itself, right? So, yeah, so those have been some really, really big shifts for me in my anxiety and energy and overall well-being, is the plant meditations, connecting with their energy, receiving their spiritual guidance, and just practicing that self-compassion, to being okay with where I'm at, and that it's enough. I'm making it enough, right? Instead of that, it's not enough. No, it is enough. Okay, what you're doing is enough. So here's how the plants have also changed me that I've noticed. I'm more patient, especially when it comes to my children. I have a lot more patience than I used to. And I can be more calmer when it comes to addressing whether it's their fights, their tantrums, their messes, their spills, their, like, so many things that we could just get irritable and frustrated about. I mean, don't get me wrong, I still get frustrated and irritable, but it's manageable, and I can communicate my needs. I feel less rushed. I've also noticed that I'm less controlling too. Like, if there's something my husband wants done this way or that way, I would in the past would be like, no, we can't do it that way. Or no, let me just do it. Or let the kids do it, even though it ends up being a bit more messier or not how I'd like it to be. I'm going to become a little bit less controlling. And that's been also not as tight. It's been like less, I've been less anxious also for that. Just have a really more greater sense of connection to myself, to creator, the plants, more presence, and, like I said, mentioned, more grounded. And again, some days it's not always like that. Some days I get less sleep than usual. My nutrition isn't on point, and I'm like, it's around my monthly cycle, or I'm very tired and fatigued. I just tend to what needs nourishment. Like, if I need to sleep in instead of waking up early to go to the gym or do my meditation? Or is it making sure that I eat filling meals? So those are all things that it's really helping to bring more awareness to me and my habits and my behaviors. So there are so many different lessons. I can keep going on, but those are some of the main ones that I've really have learned throughout this past year. So if you're curious about this path, just so you know, okay, that you don't have to have a dozen of herbs in your cabinet. You don't have to sign up for expensive classes or even check out a whole bunch of different kind of books and podcasts unless you want to. It's the simple things that we could do in our day to day to just create that conscious connection and relationship, like drinking our tea mindfully, sitting under the tree with our kids, having a picnic and just observing the surroundings and thanking the tree. Simply acknowledging their presence is a beautiful way to connect in that way. And that's it. Hello, tree, or thank you, tree, for your shade. Simple things. So thank you for these flowers nearby where, they're bringing butterflies and attracting hummingbirds and bees and things like that, right? Maybe it's picking up more fresh herbs from your grocery store, farmer's market to cook with, cilantro, basil, rosemary, and using them in that way while you're making your recipes, the usual recipes that you do, and seeing how it tastes when you add fresh, like when you're making a pasta, maybe fresh basil instead of the dried or just the sauce alone, right? Just simple, really beautiful ways to bring them in. Maybe it's learning how to make your own herbal oils or skincare medicines that you can make from home, like a salt scrub, a sugar scrub. Maybe buying more plants and putting plants inside your house or outside your house, or flowers, right? You don't have to have a big garden. You don't have to fill your house with so many plants. Maybe you just start with one plant. That's what I would suggest, is just starting small. One plant, one type of herbal tea. Maybe you go to your farmer's market that sells herbal oils or salves and pick one, and just starting with that. I would just say small goes a long way. Small steps goes a long way. You don't have to have a whole bunch of different types of herbs, just maybe one that stands out to you. Well, as I start to wrap up the episode today, I just wanted to say thank you for spending this time with me. If there's one thing I hope you take away from this episode, it's that healing doesn't always come from doing more. Sometimes it just comes from slowing down enough to notice what's already around us, like the nature. It has an incredible way of reflecting back what we need and reminding us to trust the seasons, embracing rest, and reconnecting with ourselves and the outside world as well. If this conversation resonated with you, I'd love if you can share it with a friend or with someone who could use a reminder today. Also, it would mean so much to me if you could leave a review or share the episode on social media and tag me, so it helps other women reach them on their healing journey as well. Also, if you're feeling called to cultivate a more grounded, nourishing relationship with yourself through holistic care and health and healing, I'd love to support you and work with you. I am now accepting new clients through Nourish Inc. I'll post the link in the description in the show notes. You can head to that link and apply through your insurance. And you can also send me an email if you have any questions. Until next time, my friends, remember to nourish your body, trust your inner wisdom, and honor your healing path. I'll catch you all in the next one. Take care.